they have to make a decision whether or not they're gonna keep him alive or they're gonna pull the plug. Now, they said he can survive, but he might need a machine for the rest of his life. You feel what I'm saying? Which is, y'all let me know in the comments how y'all feel about that. You know what I'm saying? If somebody very close to you, was in that type of situation and the doctor is telling you, hey, he can survive, he just might be on a machine for the rest of his life. Or y'all can pull the plug and just free this man. You know everybody, you know my whole family.
The whole team.
God.
100.
100.
Double salute. Wildlife 100.
Wildlife 100.
I've been in the trap every day, I don't get much sleep.
Wildlife 100.
Something so real, so real, you can feel it in your knees. I need something like you, do you need someone like me?
What's moving, everybody? Hey, look, man, you already know what time it is. Today, I got another crazy story for y'all, man. You already know what's up. If you ain't been here before, smash that subscribe button, that like, share, all that. You know what I'm saying? If you have been here, y'all already know we finna kick it. Today's story, it touch a little close to home. You know what I'm saying? Cause this was my real little cousin. You know what I mean? But as y'all can see, as the caption of the video, this is about my little cousin / brother. I call him my little brother too, you know, cause we actually kind of grew up together. You know what I'm saying? But this is about how my cousin got strung out, bro, and was unalived fatally. You know what I'm saying? Crazy story. But let me start from the beginning. All right, so the beginning. If y'all watch my content, then y'all already know I had an aunt that adopted a whole bunch of kids. I'm talking about at a young age. She adopted like 7 kids at a young age, or like 5 or something like that. Something. So when I was younger, you know, I stayed in the hood, of course, you know. So I stayed in the hood. Me, my mom, my sister, we stayed in the hood. And my aunt and them, they stayed out in Gwinnett. Now, if you're not familiar with Gwinnett, maybe it's a couple hood areas in Gwinnett, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, it's like a suburb in Georgia. You know what I'm saying? It's like northern Georgia. You feel me? So they stayed in this 4,500 square foot house in Gwinnett, and you know they had all these adopted kids. So my mama not even send us over there. She allowed us to go over there every weekend, every summer, whenever we wanted to. You know what I'm saying? Because we'll go over there and we'll play with the kids, you know. And I'm pretty sure my Aunt Marcy, and that's her name, my Aunt Marcy, and my uncle, you know, they was happy that we came over because we kept they kids busy. You know what I'm saying? Imagine having 5 to 7 adopted kids running around in your house. You know what I'm saying? You gonna want some kids there that are more mature, whether it be in age or just in personality. You know, because I come from the hood. You know what I'm saying? I was more mature in certain ways to come around and help you manage your kids for the most part. And when I say manage your kids, I used to come around and, you know, we just was kids together. I kept them out of trouble. You know, we did everything together. And let me get into what I'm talking about. So she adopted 2 boys at the beginning. A boy named Jody and Joe. They were twins. You feel me? They were fraternal twins. One of them was dark skinned, one of them was light skinned. So Jody is the one that we just so happen to be talking about today. You know what I'm saying? So she adopted these 2 kids, and you know, I used to come to their house just about every weekend. You know what I'm saying? And we grew together. You know what I mean? We taught each other everything. We taught each other math. We taught each other how to pee in the toilet. We taught each other everything, how to ride a bike. We taught each other how to shoot a jump shot. We taught each other everything. You know what I'm saying? Just imagine 3 little boys that's just rocking. You know what I'm saying? We going everywhere together. We doing everything together. You know what I'm saying? All of that. I remember when they first came, they used to pee in the bed. You know what I mean? They used to pee in the bed all the time. And when I came around, it was like, you know, I could speak their language. You feel me? Because I was a kid like them. So it was like, hey, man, we ain't doing that. You feel me? If you scared, just wake me up at nighttime and we can go together. You know what I mean? I go to the bathroom, I stand outside the door, and you know what I'm saying? Just so they would stop peeing in the bed. You know, but that's just an example of how close we were and the things that we did together, you know, from childhood up. So fast forward, right? we get a little older. We starting to reach our teenage years. You know what I'm saying? And as we reaching our teenage years, I ain't gonna lie, I changed a little bit because, like I told y'all, I stayed in the hood, and I didn't necessarily change on my little cousins. But now when I came around, I was more conscious about, my outfit, my shoes, and things like that. I ain't want to play as much. You know what I'm saying? I ain't want when we went to the beach, I ain't want to get wet, things like that. So we kind of distance ourselves in certain ways. Now, the whole time, I'm not knowing my little cousin Jody is going through certain things at school. You know what I'm saying? Because my aunt put them in this private school, right? It's actually, that's a crazy story too. Tommy Hilfiger actually paid for half of their tuition to go to this private school. Yeah, it get deep, but they ended up going to this private school, and my little cousin started having these behavioral issues. You know what I'm saying? Mind you, they were diagnosed with ADHD, but hell, we all got ADHD to some extent. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it ain't no big thing. You feel me? But it's like when I distance myself a little more, he started getting into a little more trouble. Whether it been in school, whether it been at home. He sneaking drugs to school and drinking beer and things like that. Things that the average, you would think the average suburban kid as a teenager would go through. But it was more of a touchier situation because of their background. You know what I'm saying? Their background was like turmoil. You know what I'm saying? They came from a family of dark people. You know what I'm saying? Mind you, my aunt got them early, maybe at like 2 or 3 or something like that. They got them early, but certain things linger. You feel me? You just gotta know. But so he started getting in trouble in school and things like that. And we didn't look at it too bad, you know what I'm saying? Because we wasn't trying to look at it too bad, because that's just regular stuff, you feel me? So he ended up graduating from from high school and all that, which was a blessing, because we wasn't even sure if he was gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? Him and his twin, they graduated from the same school, which was dope situation. But fast forward, now we're a little older, right? We're a little older, and I'm going through a case. I'm going through a court case. Now those of y'all that watch my content, y'all know, like, I went to jail when I was a little younger for like an attempted robbery. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I got locked up. You feel me? So I ended up getting locked up and getting out. I paid my bail, got out. So I'm out and I'm fighting my case. Now, while I'm out fighting my case, my aunt and my uncle, I guess they just couldn't take my little cousin no more and his antics. You feel me? Because even when he got to my house, it was wild. But listen, I guess they couldn't take his antics no more. So they decided to kick him out. And not necessarily kick him out like, hey, go to the streets. They found somewhere for him to go, which happened to be me, my mom, and my sister house. You know what I'm saying? Now, mind y'all, we stayed in the hood our whole life, and ain't nothing changed at this point. You feel me? So him coming to stay with us was a complete culture shock. He ain't never just necessarily stayed in the hood. He ain't never necessarily had to deal with hood things. You feel me? This wasn't necessarily his reality. You feel me? So when he came to our house, it was a lot more freedom. It was just a lot going on. And mind y'all, remember I said I was going through a case. So my head wasn't where I feel like it should have been with my little cousin coming to stay with us. You get what I'm saying? But mind you, I was still a kid myself. You feel me? I probably was like 19, 20 at that time, fighting a case where I could do 10. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, my mind was just everywhere. And I'm not thinking that my little cousin, the one I helped raise, I grew up, I helped him ride a bike, I helped him shoot a basketball, I helped him talk to his first girl, I helped him with everything. I'm not thinking that he's gonna grow up and go down such an ominous path. Such an ominous future, So I'm not really paying that much attention until one day, He had been doing a lot of weird stuff. Like, I remember he ended up stealing my sister's rent money, her half of the rent and stuff like that. One day one day I seen this man walking across our apartment like he was leaving another apartment with a microwave in his hand, bro. on everything. He was walking past our apartment. I'm like, bro, what you got going on? And, he like, nothing. You know what I'm saying? He kept walking with the microwave. At that point, I knew something was a little off. But I'm not thinking it was what it was. You get what I'm saying? So, I didn't really take it that seriously as far as his character changing until one day I literally woke up. One day I literally woke up in my bedroom and I didn't just jump all the way up. I heard somebody in my room. So I opened my eyes just a little bit. You feel me? Man, I woke up to my little cousin stealing money out of my pants pocket, fool. Straight up. Mind you, we ain't never had these types of issues. He ain't never been this type of person. You know what I'm saying? I helped raise this little boy. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I don't even understand what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, and mind you, my parents wasn't on. Every day when I went home and, I was finna, go to sleep or whatever, I take my pants off and sometimes if I ain't feel like, throwing it in the dirty clothes or whatever, I just throw it over on my counter, with my belt on it and everything, my wallet in it and everything. You feel me? And yeah, so when I woke up, I caught my little cousin in my pants, bro, on the counter. You feel me? So immediately I got up and I'm like, cuz, what you got going on? You feel me? And the response he gave me allowed me to understand, like, all right, it's deeper than rap. You feel me what I'm saying? This man, I can't even remember the exact response, bro, but this man said something to me after being caught, you know what I'm saying? I woke up and said, cuz. And he, after knowingly being caught, this man say something along the lines of to me, I thought I lost some money. I was just making sure you didn't have it or something like that. I was just trying to find my money. I was just trying to find my money. You know what I'm saying? At that moment in time, I'm like, all right, fool, you not dumb. You know what I'm saying? Like, something ain't right. You get what I'm saying? Something's not right. So, so I ain't gonna lie, I yoked him up. You feel me? I yoked him up and I'm like, bro, what's wrong with you? Like, what you got going on? I yoked him up and I looked him in his eyes. Mind you, this my little cousin. It's like my little brother, right? We grew up together, I can see him. Have you ever had somebody that you kicked it with all the time to the point where this person? You feel me? You can look in their eyes, you can tell when they lying, you can look in their eyes, you can tell when they being truthful, all that. I knew something wasn't right, and this my little dog, so I yoked him up, and I probably shouldn't have yoked him up, but I didn't know the issue that he was having at the time. And it hurt his feelings too when I yoked him up. I yoked him up so I can see in his eyes, you know what I'm saying? And I looked in his eyes and I noticed that he was spaced out. You feel me? He was spaced out to some extent. I just couldn't put my finger on what it was. You know what I'm saying? So when I yoked him up, I'm like, bro, why is you doing this? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, what's your problem? You feel me? He might have said something that I couldn't really understand. I let him go and he ran out the house. You feel me? When he ran out the house, it was like, all right, that's the nail in the coffin right there. Like, behavior is erratic. Like, what's up with this? So fast forward. I don't remember how I found out that he was on drugs, but somebody ended up telling me that he was on drugs, right? So the way that he got on drugs, crazy, right? And that's why I said him coming to stay with us in our house was a big culture shock. It was a culture shock because he don't know the game out here. And I wasn't in the space mentally where I could coddle him. You know what I'm saying? Where I could coddle him in a way where it's like, all right, let me show you the game. Don't do this, do that, do that. You know what I'm saying? So this guy, my little cousin, fool, he allowed one of them drug dealers in the area, um, to basically talk him into doing crack. You feel me? And how they did that was my little cousin, he was going around the complex and he was looking for somebody to sell him some marijuana. So he come up to somebody and they like, listen, I ain't got that. Matter of fact, I don't think my little cousin, he only had like $3-4 or something. He didn't have enough money to get a whole blunt. You feel me? So he run into somebody, and man, every dealer not your dealer. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. So he run into somebody, and somebody that don't usually serve him, and he like, hey, you know, you got something that I can get for $3-4, which is, don't get me wrong, that's kind of junky like already, you know what I'm saying? But this is before he actually went all the way. Mind you, my little cousins, they had ADHD, but they also had like a learning curve where it was like, you know, in their mind they're younger than what they really are, you know. So I'm pretty sure that affected a lot of things too. So he asked the guy, he like, yeah, can I get something for about $3-4? You know what I'm saying? Some weed. So buddy like, listen, I ain't got no that for no $3-4, but I can give you a piece of this. You feel me? And he proceeds to give my little cousin a piece of crack rock, fool. Straight up. And when I talked to my little cousin, because after I found out, man, I took him, I took him and I sat him down, and wasn't no aggression, wasn't none of that. You know, I tried to talk to him, you know, because now I knew what I was dealing with, you know, and he explained to me, and he was high in that moment while I was sitting there talking to him, and y'all, I don't know if y'all ever seen anybody that y'all love strung out on crack. It's not something that you want to see. You feel me? Especially somebody that you got memories with. You feel what I mean? It's not something you want to see. So he sat there and he explained it to me to the best of his ability that yeah, he basically only had a certain amount of money. He was looking for this, and somebody gave him crack for the $3-4 that he had, and his naiveness allowed him to try it. You feel me? I guess because he trusted the dealer, or I don't know what the case was, you know what I'm saying? But I wasn't there. So it's like, you know, it is what it is. But so he tried it. He told me that he got so high that he had to go around the complex looking for somebody who would give him some weed because he had to come down. You know what I'm saying? That's how high he was. You feel me? But ever since then, he had been strung out. Now, mind you, my little cousin, it was maybe 21, 22 at that time. You feel me? Young. So, he done tried this crack. Now, this high is all he's chasing. You feel me? So, of course, it's getting worse at the house. You know what I'm saying? He really stealing now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just bad. You feel me? So, it's like, damn, like, all right. Now my mama then came to the conclusion where it's like, all right, listen, fool, we can't do this. You know, we already got Jay with this case, you know, that we trying to win and stuff like that, bro. We gotta send you to somewhere else. You feel me? Because he was just tweaking. We felt like we had to get him out of the hood and send him somewhere more rural. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere where somebody can pay more attention to him and things like that. So we sent him to my uncle's house. And my uncle stayed way out in Riverdale somewhere. You know what I'm saying? It was well away from everything. Man, do y'all know that this little boy will walk, bro? This boy was so strung out. He would walk from my uncle's house in Riverdale to the east side of Atlanta, fool. Now, if any of y'all ain't familiar with how far that is, driving, that's about 30, 40 minutes. You know what I'm saying? 30, 40, 45 minutes. You feel me? I would sometimes see my little cousin and I would offer him rides. You feel me? Sometimes he just didn't want to ride. You feel me? I would see my little cousin walking the interstate, man, from the south side to the east side, fool, off that stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about bad. You know what I mean? So bad to the point his shoes got holes in them. You feel me? some of the shoes he wore didn't have soles on them. You know what I'm saying? Like he damn near walking out there but barefooted. You know? So fast forward. My little cousin, he was kicking it at my uncle's house one day, and my uncle basically told him, like, listen, you can't keep moving this way. Like, you gotta stay home. You gotta, we trying to detox you. You know what I'm saying? You gotta stay here. My little cousin decides he doesn't want to stay where my uncle at, so he decides to leave, and he just start walking. It's one of them routine walk where it's like, all right, you won't take me where I need to go. All right, I ain't got no money. All right, this, and that. I'm finna walk to the east side so I can get my fix. You feel me? So little did we know this was gonna be his last time walking, period. You know what I'm saying? Because this was the decision that was fatal. You feel me? My little cousin, he decides to leave my uncle's house to go to the east side to go get his little fix or whatever. It's 11, 12 at night. It's late. He's walking down the street. My little cousin is walking down the street, and I think he was about to cross the street or something like that, and a car comes out of nowhere and completely dismantles this man, fool. Straight up. I'm talking about a car come out of nowhere and hit the man so hard, he went brain dead. Straight up. Because he didn't die. He didn't die. And I'm finna get to that. This how tragic the situation was. The car hit him so hard, he went brain dead, and he laid there on the ground. You feel me? Of course he can't move. His arms is broke, his legs is broke, certain things is broken. You know, this car really did a number on him. The car ended up dipping. You feel me? I don't know. I think they might have found out who did it later on. You know, it was a drunk driver or something like that. I don't really remember. But he ends up becoming a vegetable, right? And for those of y'all who don't know, that basically means he can't move, he can't talk, he can't do nothing. So he's in the hospital now. He's in the hospital, and I'm talking about he wrapped up. I don't know if y'all ever seen that their episode of Martin when Tommy they thought Tommy was in the hospital beat up, and every part of his body was wrapped up. This how my little cousin looked. You feel me? So except like his face, everything else was wrapped up. You know what I'm saying? It was that bad, like down to his toes, bro. So he's in the hospital, and my Aunt Marcy, she give me word that he's in the hospital, and we can come see him finally. So we go up there to see him. Mind you, they're telling us that we got to make a decision. Well, not us. It wasn't up to me. It was up to my aunt and my uncle. They have to make a decision whether or not they're gonna keep him alive or they're gonna pull the plug. Now, they said he can survive, but he might need a machine for the rest of his life. You feel what I'm saying? Which is, y'all let me know in the comments how y'all feel about that. You know what I'm saying? If somebody very close to you, was in that type of situation, and the doctor is telling you, hey, he can survive, he just might be on the machine for the rest of his life. Or y'all can pull the plug and just free the man. You know what I'm saying? To some extent. So mind y'all, before I came into the office, into the emergency room, this man wasn't moving, he wasn't talking, he couldn't do nothing, right? As soon as my little cousin seen me, he made a noise. You feel me? I'll never forget it. You feel me? Because they got me ready to just not hear nothing, not see nothing, you know what I'm saying? Me just talk to him. So, of course, immediately I'm in my feelings. Hey, we don't need to pull the plug. You feel me? This man still coherent, you know what I'm saying? He can't take no drugs because he's going to be in the hospital. We need to wait this out. You feel me? Man, other family members got in my aunt's ear, and my aunt and my uncle's ear. And I'm not saying it was right or it was wrong, or I'm not saying anything. I don't have no judgment towards it, because it happened. It is what it is, But they ended up eventually just pulling the plug. You know what I'm saying? They pulled the plug and yeah, that was it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never see my little cousin again after that. You feel me? But yeah, that's the story, man. Y'all drop a comment. Y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Would y'all have pulled the plug on your little cousin, your mama, your grandma, your best friend, or whoever, or or, or would you have allowed them to go about their life and possibly suffer? You know what I'm saying? And mind you, he might not have suffered. Who's to tell? Who are we to tell anybody what suffering is to them? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, that's how I lost my little cousin. You know what I'm saying? Somebody I grew up with, somebody I helped raise, somebody who I was very close with. You know, we did everything together. You feel me? But listen, if y'all don't take anything from this video, I want everybody to go hug the people they close to. You know what I'm saying? Go understand empathy. You know, understand when you see somebody hurting or when you see a problem or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. I love y'all for life. You feel me? Until next time, man. 100, man.